So Texas pulled out a close win against South Carolina. Let's talk about it. Start off with Roy Harmon again. So she played 40 minutes. She had 6 points, 3 of 8 shooting, no threes, no free throws. She had 4 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 turnovers. She had 1 steal, 1 block, 0 offensive rebound, 4 defensive rebound. Okay, so yeah, the stat sheet for her is not the flashiest, but whenever it mattered, she showed up. Okay, she had the game-winning shot. Okay, which I will show, and then the whole audience reaction to that was actually insane. This was that shot. This was that shot. Okay, the crowd reaction to it, that was insane. But you know, she is the game winner ultimately. Also, shout out to her. She's now #1 on Texas assists leaderboard all time. So, you know, that's huge. I believe 777 assists. So we love it. But yeah, y'all, she's really moving me. The game the other day, I was talking about her defense, how she was able to score and just bring everything together. And she was able to do something similar today. Like I said, not the flashiest stat line, not the most efficient from the field, but able to slow down the offense when needed, able to score that critical bucket. I like her defense too. And just someone who's shown up when the moment matters most. And she was also MVP of this little tournament. So congratulations to her. I feel like she really, really deserved that. And I like what I've been seeing from her as well. So shout out to Roy Harmon first and foremost, okay? And then let's talk about Madison Booker. So 40 minutes, 16 points, 7 of 16 shooting, no threes, 2 free throws. She had 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 5 steals, which is fantastic. And she had 0 blocks, 1 offensive rebound, 8 defensive rebounds. The thing with Madison Booker, I believe the first half she was 4 of 12. Okay, it was bad. It was bad. In the second half, she was making some more clutch shots in the third and the fourth quarter, which is what I needed to see. Gotta be more efficient. And sometimes I feel like she kind of forces it too much. And then she makes errors, whether that's like an offensive foul or taking a bad shot or, you know, committing fouls on other people and stuff as well. So I think sometimes she kind of gets too sped up in her own way in sense. But, you know, I thought that this was a better response than the other day. Even though she shot 7 of 16 the other day and everything, at least she was able to score more of it whenever it mattered, okay? Like I said, I like her as a player and everything. Got to be more efficient and, you know, some of those other things that I talked about. But, I mean, hey, she scored 16 points, which is good. And she had the steals and she was able to make some big plays for her team, okay? So, you'll see those things from Madison Booker today. Love her mid-range, okay? Bria Cunningham, 11 minutes. She had 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting, no threes, no free throws, 1 rebound, 0 assists, 0 turnovers, 0 steal, and 1 block. So, it's not bad for the time. And then she only had 2 personal fouls. So I forget why she didn't play more. And then we look into Sid Berry, 8 minutes, 2 points, 1 of 2 shooting. She had no threes, no free throws, no rebound. I believe she had 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block. So I mean, And then next up, we go to Jordan Lee. Okay, Jordan Lee played well. I kind of buried the lead. I should have talked about her earlier. But she was a huge reason for Texas being successful in winning this game. But she had 40 minutes, 19 points. I believe that's 6 of 18 shooting. So, got to be more efficient with the shooting because the efficiency is terrible on that. I will say that. And then she was 1 of 6 from the 3-point line, 6 of 6 free throws. She had 2 rebounds. She had 3 assists, 3 turnovers. She had 0 steals, 0 block, and then 1 offensive rebound, 1 defensive rebound. So, yeah, she's efficient for them with the shooting and everything. I believe she was doing some good stuff in the last game, if I remember correctly. So, I like her game. I believe she was hitting some middies and stuff and just finding ways to score. Just got to be more efficient is all. But, you know, I think she's a decent player for this team. One of the reasons that they won for sure. The bench, Justice Carlton, 32 minutes, 13 points, 4 of 9 shooting. We had no threes. We had 5 of 6 free throws. We had 8 rebounds, 0 assists, 2 turnover. Okay, 0 steal, 2 block. 6 offensive rebound, 2 defensive rebound. Okay, so that's pretty good production for the time. And Oldacre, 29 minutes, 4 points, 1 of 3 shooting, no threes, 2 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, which is not good, 1 steal, 0 block, 3 offensive rebound, 4 defensive rebound. The thing I like about her is she does those little plays that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. So she had that one where she bounced it off of South Carolina's player's leg to maintain the possession, and just little plays like that, and timely buckets and stuff, and, you know, some good defensive moments if I'm remembering correctly. So I think she plays a role, okay? And again, there's no Aaliyah Crump, and I believe they're missing 2 other players as well. So this is something that is really worth noting, which is why you see some players playing more minutes than others. I'm sure that this is going to balance themselves out, but yeah, that's something worth noting. Next up, we look at South Carolina. Okay, Joyce Edwards played 31 minutes. She had 16 points on 7 to 16 shooting. Again, we'd like to see some more efficiency with that. And then no threes, 2-4 from the free throw line, 4 rebound, 3 assists, 0 turnover, 2 steal, 1 block, 1 offensive rebound, 3 defensive rebound. Overall, I thought that she had some good plays in this game. Okay, she missed some easy buckets that she should have made, at the rim and everything. But for the most part, I think that she plays well, and she's probably their best player at this point and everything. And so the thing with her is I feel like they should have played through her more in the first half and should have got her some more touches and everything. There were some times where she was getting some buckets, more so taking it for herself. And then the second half, I feel like they made a more concerted effort to get her involved. But I think if they would have played through her more this game, then they probably would have won the game, to be honest with you. Because like I said, I think that she is their best player and everything. And so, yeah. And then there's some moments where she has some bad plays and everything. But for the most part, I thought that she was, one of the best players for South Carolina and is their best player at the moment. We look at Oco. 34 minutes, we had 12 points, 5 of 7 field goals, no threes, 2 free throws. We had 11 rebounds, we had 1 assist, 4 turnovers, which is terrible, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 offensive rebound, 10 defensive rebounds, okay? So, I mean, I really think that this is some decent production for the most part and everything, able to do some stuff on both sides of the ball and everything. And then we look at Demon Tessa Johnson at 37 minutes. We had 13 points and 6 of 11 shooting, 1 of 3 from the three-point line, and no free throws. She had 0 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 offensive rebound, 0 defensive rebound. Okay, y'all know I like Tessa Johnson. I've said this before. So for the most part, she has some decent stuff on offense. I like when she took what the defense was giving her, and she was making some middies and stuff. Ultimately, she had a 3 in the game as well. No shade. She got cooked on defense multiple times in the game, and we got to step up the defense. As well. So I will say those things if I'm trying to be as objective as possible. But I told you guys I do like her game. We look at Taniyah Latson, 32 minutes, 16 points, 4 of 12 shooting, which is just dreadful. And then 1-on-1 3-pointers, 7 of 8 free throws. We had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, I believe, 2 steals, 0 blocks, 4 offensive rebounds, 0 defensive rebounds, okay? So, yeah, not her best game shooting the basketball. At least she was able to contribute on other standpoints and everything. I kind of agree with what some people are saying, and the Finn and Dawn's offense and everything like that as well. Maybe it's just gonna take her more time to adjust and everything. I don't know. I feel like she is kind of forcing her shot too much and not letting the game come to her or whatever, and everything. And like she was a leading scorer and everything, so of course there's going to be that adjustment, right, when you transfer and you get in Dawn's system and everything. But I don't know. I just felt like there were some times where she was forcing her shot and everything. And like I said, I really do think that they should have played through Joyce Edwards in this game. So that's my opinions on her in this game, respectfully. We look at Raven Johnson, 35 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 5 shooting. We had no threes, 1 of 2 free throws, 0 rebounds, 6 assists. We had 3 turnovers, 2 steal, 1 block, 0 offensive rebound. You guys know how I feel about Raven Johnson at this point. It's documented, so I will move on. And then we look at the bench. So I'll just read the points. Tack 2 points, Dowda 0 points, McKeer 0 points, McDowell 0 points, and McDaniel 0 points. And then you can see the advanced stats above me, and this is how everyone for South Carolina has performed, okay? As we know this year, Chloe Kitts, unfortunately, tore her ACL for South Carolina. Ashlyn is out as well, Ashlyn Watkins. So those are some things that are worth noting for South Carolina for this year, okay? And then here was the leaders for this game. Okay, so points, Jordan Lee for Texas and Joyce Edwards for South Carolina. For rebounds, Madison Booker for Texas, Ocote for South Carolina. And then we had assists, Rory Harmon for Texas and Raven Johnson for South Carolina. Here's the scoring by quarter. It's pretty close. So 23-19, 10-10, 13-21, and 20-14. Okay. Ultimately, it ends 66-64 with Texas getting that close win. Here's some more of the advanced stats, which I will read. But field goal percentage 42-43, 3-point percentage 17-29, turnovers 15-13, and rebounds 39-32. Continuing on with the advanced stats for both schools. Okay, for Texas, they were 25 of 60 from the floor, not great. 42%, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. They don't take a whole lot of threes. And from that, the percentage is going to be 17%, 15 to 20 from the free throw line, okay? And that's going to be 75%. The rebounds, 39%. Offensively, they had 16 rebounds. Defensively, they had 23 rebounds, okay? So that's good. And then assists 15, steals you had 8, blocks you had 5, total turnovers 15, which is terrible. Points off turnovers 18, fast break points only 8 points in transition. Yikes. Points in the paint 28, fouls 18 fouls, no techs in this game, and the largest lead was 8. South Carolina 25 of 58 from the field, 43%, 2 of 7 from the 3-point line, 29%, 12 of 16 from the free throw line, missing some critical ones. and then 75%, 32 rebounds total, 11 offensive, 21 defensive, 17 assists, 7 steals, 5 blocks, 13 total turnovers, 18 points off turnovers, 7 fast break points, 38 points in the paint. You had 13 fouls, no techs in this game, and the largest lead they had in the game was also 8. Okay, now let me share my overall thoughts on the game, why Texas won, why South Carolina lost, and what I liked and what I didn't like, okay? So I thought that the officiating was inconsistent. The first half, I felt like South Carolina was getting more calls, and in the second half, Texas was getting more calls and everything. So they evened it out in the end, but they got to be more consistent with the stuff that they call and when they call it. The officiating, I thought was something that was frustrating this game. So I will say that. And overall, I think in the beginning, I think it was like the first half, I think Texas had the lead by like 4 in the first half, okay? So it was a pretty close game. And then in the second half, I think Texas was just able to, kind of click in and ultimately take away the game because they wanted it a little bit more. Able to make a few more shots, able to get more defensive stops in the game and everything. I think South Carolina missed some critical free throws at the end as well. And so just able to take that to their advantage and everything. Overall, I don't think that their defense was as good as it was in that UCLA game. So just being more consistent on defense, getting over there to contest the threes, making sure that you were defending without fouling, okay? That was one of my pet peeves that they had, and it was a point where they just kept missing shots. I'm talking about easy shots as well, and, some defensive lapses, not being in the right place, so you're letting South Carolina get some easy layups on you and everything like that as well. And so I was frustrated by Texas on that standpoint. There was a time where I thought Vic Schaefer should have took a timeout, and he didn't, but luckily there was an immediate timeout because you could kind of feel South Carolina starting to gain momentum because they were hitting some big buckets. So there was just some times I thought that Texas had some lapses offensively and defensively, okay? Madison Booker, like I said, wasn't great in the first half. The second half, I think she was able to make some critical shots and everything. And so, both of the teams kind of struggled from the field as I showed you. But I think in the end, Texas just wanted it more. I think that they executed a little bit more offensively and defensively. But a really close game nonetheless, okay? Shout out to Roy Harmon for being the MVP, for making that game, winning shot and everything. Madison Booker able to make some shots in the end for the game. And then Jordan Lee also, I think that those were the 3 players who were most helpful towards Texas, but everyone was able to do some stuff. I'm talking about some deflections, I'm talking about steals as well, and just being able to play their role to perfection and everything. So, and Vic Schaefer hyping them up and stuff like that. So I think it was just small little execution things that I think ultimately Texas executed on more than South Carolina. But this is a game where it really could have went either way. It was just kind of about who executed better, and I felt like for this game specifically, Texas did, okay? And then if I look at the South Carolina side and why I feel like they didn't win, like I said, I really feel like they should have played through Joyce Edwards in that first half and throughout the entire game. I feel like if they would have got her a couple more touches, I really think that they could have took this game. So I think there was that. I think that there was some turnovers and stuff that they had, which certainly wasn't helping them and everything as well. Sometimes where they weren't making shots, and like I said, those critical missed free throws at the end were some problems as well. I believe they got out-rebounded in this game, which, that is something that is going to come back to bite you, okay? Rebounding is so important on, both ends, offensively and defensively. So when you get out-rebounded in the game and all those other things, I think most of the advanced stats kind of lean in Texas's favor, but I just think Texas played the slightly better game. But like I said, this is a game where it really could have went either way. I was entertained by the game overall. I think both teams have stuff that they need to work on, okay? Texas got to work on, not being in close games like this. It's good that they were able to pull this one out and everything, but, eventually, you're going to lose games like this. So, just being better about the execution the entire way through, because I feel like there's times where they get lazy or times where they have bad mistakes and dumb turnovers and stuff like that as well. So I feel like, just being more consistent throughout the game and everything. And that UCLA game, they almost choked it away, but luckily they controlled it. I think the 3-point shooting has to improve. Like I said, I like about Texas that they don't necessarily depend on the 3-point shooting. It's not a big point of their team because, like I said, I don't like when teams live and die by the 3. If you're looking at like an Atlanta Dream, a Golden State Valkyries, for example, that's just something I don't like. But you are going to need that 3-point shot, okay? And so I think getting better, from the 3-point line is definitely going to help them. Like I said, they are missing some players who could help them from, behind the 3-point line. So getting them back as well, some small X's and those things, coaching. And, I think there are some illegal screens that they set in this game or dumb fouls that they get. So just playing more discipline throughout the game and trying to limit the mistakes, limited turnovers, and all those other things, just some X's and O's standpoints as well. Okay. So I think that these are things that they can improve on. But, I think that they wanted it more For South Carolina, like I said, running the offense through Joyce Edwards, I think ultimately it's going to be key, and just some execution things as well. And they just don't have, I believe, as much of a bench, unfortunately, due to the injuries and everything. So just having to make the best out of what they have and everything. Like I said, I think Don can coach his team to an Elite Eight, maybe a Final Four if I push it. But like I said, I think because of the injuries and everything, which is unfortunate, okay? But like I said, I think that this was a really entertaining game. We know that they're going to play each other multiple times a year, and that SEC play is coming up. So, I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. It could be anyone's game then. It could be anyone's game, in this one. It was just about who executed a little bit better in the end, which Texas was ultimately able to do. So I enjoyed this game. That's my personal thoughts as to why Texas was able to squeak it out. And everything as well. Also forgot to mention South Carolina was getting cooked on defense, kind of like I was talking about earlier and everything. They were getting beat on defense, so they got to tighten up their defense as well. If you ask me, run their offensive sets a little bit better. But anyways, I'm done. Let me know what you guys think below, but that's my opinion. Also, something that I wanted to say for Texas is they got to be my second favorite team to watch at this point, okay? I like the team. I like how tough they play, and Vic Schaefer really seems like a sweetheart, okay? So they're going to be my second favorite team to watch, okay? Don't know if I'm going to watch all the games this season and everything. I can't necessarily commit to that, but, I've had a lot of fun watching them. I enjoy how they play, and I like Vic Schaefer, the mentality that he has, how much he cares about his players. So I think they're a fun team to watch. You guys know that I'm a UConn fan, and that will always be my number one team. But Texas is moving me this season. Texas is moving me this season and everything. I really do think that they have a potential to be a Final Four team. I really do think so and everything. Once they get players back from injuries, tighten up that three ball, get more consistent and everything, it'll be really interesting to see how everything goes with SEC play. But I like Texas a lot, okay? And this win probably is going to move them up to like second in the rankings, which I think that they really deserve. I think that they're a good team. Some people may be sleeping on them, but just some extra love for this Texas team because I like them a lot.